at second and gets the double play. Watch Chris Campbell handle this high chop. Very smooth. It gets 2 on the swing, but LSU leads by 7.
Pitch just catches way too much of the plate, and it's tagged by Campbell. And you talked about.
And welcome back to Life After Baseball, everybody. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas to everyone out there, to you and yours.
Feliz Navidad.
You feel me? As you guys know, the last episode that you guys saw, we decided to pull the curtain back. Well, Chris decided that he wanted to pull the curtain back. And we went and we got very, very personal. And we showed one half of the Life After Baseball story as to why this podcast really even came to be. But here's the thing, though. This podcast isn't just about one voice, one story. Foundations aren't built off of one single pillar. So today we decided to keep that veil pulled back a little bit, and we decided that we're going to now tell Chris's story of life after baseball and how he got to where he got to. So without further ado, I just want to introduce my brother, my friend, my co-host, and my family, Chris Campbell.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you,
bro. I appreciate you for even agreeing to doing this, bro, because I know it's not easy to decide like, oh, I want to go and tell my story. So, you know, I could imagine the nerves have been, working since you.
You have no idea. Since I brought it up, I'm like, oh man, what do I share? It's not that what I don't share. There's just so much to my story, and I really, there's so many people, like, you know how you, like, there's people that's like, oh, I'm self-made.
Yes.
I'm the complete opposite. Like, there were so many people that contributed to my journey and just helping me become the man I am today. So this is a shout out to everybody, you know, whether you took me to a game, you reposted, I don't know, one of my videos, whatever it was. Like, I appreciate everybody dearly who's, you know, contributed even a little bit to my journey, the highs, the lows, all of it, because baseball really made me into the man I am today, and I'm so grateful for the game. So, and
I love that. And just you guys are seeing right there him giving a tribute to everything, and that's why I want to give you your flowers today, because you know, I don't know anybody else who really puts themselves out there, that they're working as hard as they do, but yet gives everyone else the credit before he gives himself the credit. Like that right there, how you seen that he said, you know, I want to shout out, this is for everyone else who's helped me. That's just the type of person Chris is. And this is why I want to give you your flowers, because, you know, I've never told you this face to face, but I consider you as my mentor, my business mentor, because, you know, everything that has to do with business, finances, learning, and everything like that, you literally have helped me, and you were such a pivotal part of that journey that he's even helped my father get a Platinum American Express card, and my father has been enjoying vacationing for the past 2 years. Credit card taking care of everything, Centurion lounges and everything because of someone like this. So Chris, I just want to give you your flowers, because you really are out here changing people's lives.
I appreciate you.
I was lucky enough to see you change my life firsthand. But enough about that. Let's get into the real meat and potatoes of everything. Where does the story with you and baseball start? You know, what does that look like early days for Chris? You know, how did you even decide to get into baseball?
So it's funny, and shout out to Mama Cam.
I love Mama Cam.
Yeah, Mama Soups. That's what my friends call her. But I mean, I give so much credit, all my credit to her, honestly. Like, yeah, you know, there's people who help me, but I mean, I remember she was telling me that she was looking real hard into like the area that she wanted to raise me in. You know, she knew that it was just going to be us.
Right. Okay, so you didn't have your dad around?
No, not since the start. Yeah, he wasn't around since the start.
From the beginning. Okay.
And we can get into that, but she was basically like, you know, I wanted just to put you in everything, and to see what you liked, you know, and that's tough as like a single mom, you know, and you're raising a son in a world that's somewhat new, right? Because we're going into the internet world and things like that. Yeah. Because I'm a 90s baby, born 96. You know, she put me in everything. Karate. I was doing taekwondo. I was doing the earliest days I remember was the YMCA. I played soccer. I was playing soccer for the YMCA. I was just active.
Yeah, you was just out there.
And then baseball, the earliest I remember was like Queen of Angels and like CYO. That was like my earliest. But I was playing basketball a lot more because basketball, I had a lot more passion for basketball. Basketball was more fun than baseball for the most part. You know,
That was why you had more fun?
Yeah, it was always
Okay.
active. You know, like there was always things to do. So that was the earliest that I remember Queen of Angels, and I remember I was in Queen of Angels very short time because I was just better than most of the kids there. A lot of kids were in T-ball. Then going to like CYO, I was on the basketball team for St. Sebastian's, and that's where a lot of my sports started. Like that earliest remembrance.
Now, St. Sebastian's, that's a school out in Queens?
Yeah, so
Okay.
yeah, it's in Woodside, Queens. It's a Catholic school. I didn't go there.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a Catholic school. I didn't go there though. I went to a school called PS11, which is down the block from it, literally. And so I got cool with a lot of the kids who went to St. Sebastian, and then also a few of my boys that were my classmates that I was like this with. We ended up playing basketball at St. Sebastian's. Then I think it was the spring season, basketball is over. Or whatever the case may be. So it's like, let's just move all the basketball kids to the baseball team. So everybody who played basketball played baseball. And I was killing it in baseball. So that's like the earliest, like remembrance of me playing.
Now, around what age would you say that's at?
This has to be, I'm like maybe 8.
Okay.
Maybe 8, 9. I started baseball a little late. Baseball late. CYO, this is maybe like 3rd, 4th grade. So however you old you are, about 8 or 9 years old.
So about 8 or 9. Okay, no problem. So then where is it that, because you said that you're playing basketball and you're playing baseball, how long does this go on for that you're playing dual sports? Because, I know that that's something that is very, very popular, especially with athletes, playing multiple sports is just something that we're used to. So how long did that go on for? And what was it that really made the decision that, baseball is the one for me, not basketball?
Ooh, there's two moments that stand out a lot, right? So I played up until my freshman year of high school.
Okay, that's
when
basketball.
I went to McClancy, yes.
Okay.
When I did both. And I remember, so this is when I go from elementary school to middle school. And in elementary school, I think 5th or 6th grade, I go from CYO, which is like the Catholic youth organization, whatever it is, to Elm Jack.
Okay, what's Elm Jack?
Elm Jack is a little league that's like right by Rikers Island, so it's in Astoria. Yeah, crazy. Anyway, but
there with the inmates.
Right? But that changed my life a lot because I got exposed to more. The environment was a lot more competitive.
Okay.
There was people a little more serious about baseball.
Right.
Dads a little more serious about baseball.
You know how that go.
So, and we could talk about the Elm Jack days because there were a lot of things there that really helped me develop. But I remember in middle school, I was in 8th grade. And it was a time where I was playing basketball. I was on the middle school team, and there was a game where everybody was late but 5 people. I was one of the only people there that could play point guard.
Okay.
And this was at Evangel Christian School. We played on a Saturday there, and this was 8th grade, right? So I remember I got put to play point guard, had my best game ever. Dropped 15 points, couple assists, right?
Talk to it.
Yeah, I wasn't that crazy in basketball, right? But I remember I started missing games because later on when I started to play with the College Point Stars, we would travel a lot. And once I started traveling, I'm like, yo, I love this. Like, I get to play, I got to go to Jersey, Diamond Nation. I was going Sports at the Beach, dorming at Sports at the Beach, then Perfect Games.
Goes, yeah.
So think about that. It's like, do I choose that or do I choose basketball locally? I'm choosing baseball all day. I'll never forget the coach. Shout out to Mr. Matos. He was my gym coach and my basketball coach. He was like, yo, you're going to have to choose. Like, we need you as a point guard here, and you're going to be our point guard. This is maybe like halfway in the season. He's like, yo, you're going to have to choose. Bro, I'm 12.
How you giving me an ultimatum at 12? I don't know what.
I'll never forget that. And I couldn't choose, but I was just having so much more fun playing baseball. And then fast forward to freshman year, I was on the freshman team. I didn't start. I wasn't that good. I was decent, way better at baseball.
Right.
So that's when I decided. But I was injury prone a lot too. I was getting like a lot of little injuries. So I'm like, listen, you're gonna have to choose. So I just leaned towards baseball because I'm like, I see myself having a future with baseball. And basketball, if I'm gonna keep getting hurt playing basketball, and it's fun, but I'm not getting any burn, I'm not really playing too much, let's just kind of focus a little more on baseball. And I was playing 100 games a season with the Stars. So there's a lot there. There's a lot there.
So you had all right, yeah. So I want to break some of this down because you had mentioned that you credit a lot of your stuff to like your CYO and Elm Jack days, you know. So what would you say, you know, are some of the things that you attribute to, or like that really was that exposure that you got to feel like, all right, you know, this is really taking me to that, you know, level to where I'm starting to take it more serious, or like I feel like this is really having an impact on me.
That's a good question. I mean, and shout out to my homegirl Kathy. That's like family. It was her that her and her family and my boy Connor. Connor plays a very pivotal role in my story. He doesn't even know. Huge role in my story.
Who's Connor?
So my boy Connor Doyle, I grew up with him playing at Sunnyside Gardens Park. It was a private park not too far from my house. And we used to play this game called box ball. Okay. And box ball, there was a big green wall that we used to play on, and there was a box on it, literally box ball. And there's I don't know if you remember junk ball bats. But it's a junk ball, but it's a black bat. The barrel has a red thing on it. And it's for a wiffle ball, but we used to play with tennis balls. So we used to steal the tennis balls. No, we used to steal the tennis balls from the tennis court, and they used to hate us over there. We used to take the tennis balls and play box ball. Okay. So we used the junk ball bat, obviously, for the bat, and the tennis ball for the ball, and that's how we would play every day, like box ball every day. So we'd go play Elm Jack and then go play box ball. And then Going back to when I started taking it more serious, and I said all that to say, Elm Jack, it's the environment, bro. Everything is environment. Elm Jack was more fast paced. I was having a lot more fun, and I just felt like it was super competitive, and I thrive in areas where it forced me to be competitive. You know,
right. Would you say that? Sorry about that. Would you say that those early days of Elm Jack were the first times where you started to realize that environment really does play an impact on you? Because the type of person that I know you to be now, your biggest preaching thing is change your environment before it changes you. So was that, because I can already see how your face lit up when you're talking about the environment, it's faster, was that like your first time experiencing like that your environment really does play a pivotal role in your life?
Yes, for sure. There's probably a few times before that, but definitely that time, Elm Jack. Like, I was playing against the older kid. Like, so we have, I think it was the Division 2. And I'll never forget, a lot of the first hits that I had were home runs. Okay, wow. So, yeah, it's crazy. Like, I remember my first game, my first game, home run, right? At Elm Jack, never forget. I played with the Giants. Me, Kathy, my boy Anthony, my homegirl Steph. Like, we had, and these were my classmates too. Like, so these who I just mentioned were my classmates. So we were in the same class together. And then y'all on the same baseball team together. That's tough. That's so tough. You know, so I've known them for at least 20 years. Like now. Oh, that's so tough. So those are my dogs. Especially mainly Kathy. You know, specifically. You know, she's played a huge role in my life. But yeah, the environment in Elm Jack for sure. But I think things didn't really start getting crazy until the Stars. And I was just College Point Stars. So my boy Connor, once again, so Connor played at Elm Jack too. And Connor was a dirty pitcher. So that's how I got really good with hitting, because I used to face Connor all the time. Good pitching is going to force you to be a good hitter. Right? So, you know, Connor, he brought me over to, he didn't bring me to the Stars, but he played on the older team. And he would take me to his games, and I would see them play. So, you know, environment, being exposed. So, with the College Playing Stars, and that was nuts, bro, playing with the Stars, because I'm 12 at the time. This is maybe like 7th grade, like 7th, 8th grade, and we're playing like 100 games a season. We're going to Perfect Game. I remember we drove from New York to Florida to play a week in Perfect Game, then from Florida to South Carolina to play another week, and then drove back up to New York. Imagine, as a kid, experiencing that. You're in the van with your homies and driving and playing baseball, bro. Like that you camaraderie, you can't beat it. But we're 12, so imagine the environment and the competitiveness, and we're playing the top teams in the country, things like that. So I give a lot to the Stars, you know, and that's where I met Jordan Santiago. Yeah, I met Jordan, Nick Padilla. Shout out to Jordan, alumni of the show. Pod. Like, I met Nick Padilla. You know, shout out to my dog Nick. Like I met so many people that are doing great things and that were so talented. Now, talk to me about your time with the Stars, because that time with the Stars, you know, I can just see the glowing, you know, off of your face, and I can just tell that really was a big transition, because, you know, with some of the names that you just mentioned, you know, I know that those are serious players. You have Nick Padilla, who's currently in the league right now, you know, so how was that time with the CP Stars, and just
the environment, the games you played, the competition, the tournaments. Like, I know that you said, you did all the traveling, but what was it really like to be in those moments? And what were some key things that really stood out to you that made you think, like, this is why I play this sport?
Man, so many things. I got to give a huge shout out to the Stars, though. I feel like the Stars is the real reason why I went as far as I did with baseball, because it laid such a solid foundation from playing all year round.
Yep.
The training. So remember, when I talked about playing basketball at Evangel, that school, at Saturday when I was the point guard and things like that,
right.
I would play on Saturdays, and then we'd have practice with the Stars that at Evangel, because Keith went there. One of my boys, Keith. Shout out to Keith. My boy Keith went there, so we had practice there with the Stars for 2 hours. Like, brutal practice. Like, Nelson, shout out to Nelson too, bro. There's so many people that I'm gonna shout out. I really hope I'm gonna miss some people, but don't feel no type of way. But like, bro, so think about that. I'm playing full basketball game on Saturday, and then I'm doing excruciating training with baseball. And I was a chunky kid, and that's when out of nowhere I got ripped, like a little more cut, working with the Stars. But that was my life, like basketball, baseball, and then with the Stars, it was like just being around so much talent. We used to train with the 13-year-olds and the 14-year-olds as well. So Adrian Castano, who got picked up by the Tigers, Nino, Joel. There were so many. Matt Perez, Connor Doyle was on the team, like heavy hitters. And then that year when I was 12, I think I had like I believe 55 or 56 home runs that year, and that I was like, oh yeah, nuts.
56 home runs?
I'm lying, I'm dying. I went off that season. I'll never forget. That's when Pujols hit, like, I think he hit 30-something home runs. And I'll never forget, I was trying to race him for home runs. And then I would just, on everything I love, I'll never forget.
Us as athletes, we are retards, bro. Because it's like, I get it, but it's just like, that's the type of shit that we'll do. He'll be here racing Albert Pujols for home runs.
Bro, I'll never forget that. But we played so many games. Like, I'll never forget my first game with the Stars. We played a triple header. We played 3 games. We played a double header and then another game. I hit 3 home runs that day.
One for each game?
2 in one game, and then 1 like later on. But that's the type of games I was having. And then I'll never forget what really always kept my mind on the league. Gabby Martinez. Gabby Martinez, shout out to Gabby. So Gabby, he used to train players at the cage where we used to work at CP Stars with Nelson and them. I'm in Astoria. And I remember Gabby, it was expensive to work with him. And that's another thing. Like, I have to give a lot of credit to the Stars because they helped me out so much financially. Not giving me money, but giving me the opportunity to be on the team. It's expensive. Like, growing up in New York and playing basketball. Basketball is easier because you just need a ball. In baseball, you need a lot more equipment, jerseys. There's a lot more that goes into it. So I'm super grateful that the Stars gave me an opportunity, to be on that team. And yeah, bro, it was just a great time. And I feel like I'm all over the place, but there's just so much to my story, bro. This is crazy.
Don't even worry about it. So now that you say that, with the CP Stars, you credit them and like they exposed you to that environment, I can say me personally, after hearing 55 home runs in a season, I can say that's when you start to realize, all right, now I'm going to start taking this serious because I can do something with this.
And they used to hit like this. On everything I used to hit like overlapping my hands like golf. And Gabby was so I was talking about Gabby. I be losing my train of thought.
On the hitting,
bro.
And for anybody who knows hitting, like real hitters know that when you hit, you line up these knuckles right here. These knuckles right here, they go lined up. So for him to be hitting like it's a golf and you're hitting home runs like that.
It was nuts.
That's
so
crazy.
So I remember Gabby was the one that was like, yo, you're gonna have to at some point. But I forgot because I had lost my train of thought. Gabby was like, yo, you're going to play in the league someday. I'm 12, 13. And him telling me that, and he played, if I'm not mistaken, Gabby was the shortstop right before Derek Jeter. He just couldn't stay in the league because of his attitude, if I'm not mistaken. And somebody please correct me if I'm wrong, but Gabby was nice. So somebody who played in the league, he played for the Yankees, to say that, yo, you're going to go to the league, like, that says a lot. And for somebody to see that, so a lot of small things like that really forced me to take it a little more serious. And I think I took it serious because it felt disrespectful to the people who believed in me.
That part.
Super disrespectful. Like, yo, these people are going to help you. Shout out to Jordan, because Jordan was picking me up and, taking me to games. Keith, him and his dad, like, those are like second parents to me. While my mom, couldn't really do much, those were like second parents. Nat, Sam, Ernie, Loretta, who's Keith's parents, like they're like my family.
Right.
And I devote a lot of my success to them and everybody else. Like I said, I mean, I'm gonna keep saying it a lot,
Right.
but there's just
It
so
just
many.
speaks to the type of person that you are. You know how to you recognize where people have played a role. Like you're not shy to say like, no, I received some help.
Yeah.
So how would you say the CP Stars prepared you for that next transition into going into high school? And was it something that now that you're playing with the CP Stars, it's a lot more serious?
Mm-hmm.
Did baseball now influence that next level transition to high school, going from 12U, 13 to now you're stepping into the high school world? Did the CP Stars, one, prepare you for that, and two, did baseball really, was it the driving force behind your decision to go to high school?
1,000%. I mean, I think the CP Stars helped the most because of how excruciating the seasons were. I mean, multiple doubleheaders, like, and you know how it is when we're playing in Diamond Nation and you're playing for you're trying to play for the championship. Sometimes you're playing 4 games in a day.
Yup.
So all that training, the training, like Nelson and 8, bro, and Jordan spoke about it on the podcast. We went to Astoria Park and we had a military guy or Navy SEAL guy train us.
Yo,
Bro, we're 12.
Yo, and not for nothing, for all the viewers out there, I don't know if it was just our time, but because I had someone who was in the Army train us one time, but I don't know what it was about that era of coaches, but they just wanted to bring military people or people that they knew were going to put you through hell and just work your ass off.
It was crazy. So a lot of that prepared me, and then we were all trying to go to the same school. You know how that goes, and it didn't work out like that. I know, like Connor ended up going to what's that really smart school? I was about to say Townsend Harris, which is a school in Queens. Adrian went somewhere, Nino went somewhere, and I think a couple people went to Dozo. Right, I went to McClancy my freshman year, and I went to McClancy because I went to their baseball camps multiple times.
Okay, and
killed it in their baseball camps. They were like, "Yo, you gotta come here." So I was fortunate enough to, I think I got like an academic scholarship or whatever, academic scholarship, MC, and allegedly. And right, so I ended up going to McClancy, but, and my boy Chris Jordan went there, Keith went there, who was on the Stars team. So we played on the JV team together. And that was a very good time, like super dope time. I was a third baseman at the time. So I started as a catcher, weird enough. Well, I played a lot of positions, but mainly third. I played short a little bit, like a CYO. Elm Jack played a lot, mostly third base, right? So I came up as a third baseman. Played a little catcher in Elm Jack. I lost my catcher's glove, so that's the only reason why I didn't stay as a catcher. Because the catcher's glove was expensive, and I never forget, I bought at Sports Authority, RIP Sports Authority.
Damn, yeah. That's a throwback. Right? Sports Authority.
Right, so and then I played third on the Stars, and then going up to McClancy. Then in McClancy, my freshman year, killed it, right? And then my sophomore year is when I got moved up to Vars.
Oh, that was a quick jump.
Yeah, right.
That was a very fast jump.
I played the fall season on Vars. Ended up getting called up to Vars, but the third baseman was a senior or like a junior or senior, so I'm not gonna play over him. So they worked me at first base. And they asked me if I could play second.
Even at your height?
That's what I said. I'm like,
first base. I understand.
But they needed my bat. They needed my bat in the lineup. I was abusing. Yeah, like I'll never forget. One of my favorite moments at McClancy was there was a big right field fence. Now I think it's a double now.
McClancy's field. I know the field you talk, the fence.
And I put a ball over and it broke. It went through the front windshield of a Beamer. Yeah, my coach was upset. He was hyped because it was a home run, but he was upset because the school had to pay for it. So I was like, hey.
Make the fence bigger.
But yeah, bro, so, I mean, I know I've been long-winded with some of my answers, but there's just so much to my story. And I think CP Stars, to answer your question, really molded it. And yeah, baseball was definitely the reason. Like going to McClancy, like I didn't care so much about academics. I feel like I was I was an athlete student.
Right.
But I was always good in school. Like my mom like schoolwork. Like if I got a 98, like yo, where's the little 2 points? Like she was super strict. In hindsight, it was for the best.
Right. I was just about to ask. I was going to ask the level of expectation that she had for you, that she had in place for you. Do you feel like that really helped, like you mold you as far as, you got to top of the top,
For sure.
best of the best. You know, Mama Cam, she didn't instill these little values for me for no reason. You know, like she wants me striving.
Yeah, and she led by example. That's why it was super heartbreaking when I got arrested.
What?
Yeah.
Arrested for what?
Bro, for graffiti. Bro, this was, most people don't even know this. It was just crazy. Bro, this was my 8th grade graduation day. I got arrested for graffiti. I'll never forget. And it's crazy because I didn't realize.
How are you doing graduation morning,
Yo, bro, this is like, this is nuts. Kids, don't try this at home. Mom, sorry. But I used to sneak out my house with my scooter and just go do graffiti with some of my friends. Rest in peace, John, because he was the one that I got arrested with. He ended up passing away. But I lost a lot of friends. But rest in peace, Oscar too. Oscar, just his birthday recently. Oscar, he's one of the reasons why like I have a lot of faith in God. My boy Oscar 303 and Rip Leo, who just passed too. But yeah, bro, I got arrested for 8th grade graduation. I'm like, I hit my boy Ro. I'm like, yo, I graduate tomorrow. Yo, let's go celebrate. Let's go, hit some spots. We hit a couple spots. I go hit the spot with my crib. We go around the block to Queens Boulevard, and a cop turns the corner. I see him run. I run, and I had just turned 14. I was so nervous, and I had so much adrenaline. I passed out.
While you were running?
Yeah, I passed out and hit, and all I remember, I go down like 48th Street, I pass out, and I didn't realize until much later that it was like, I guess, police brutality or whatever it was. But as soon as I woke up, I had somebody smash my face in the ground a couple of times, one of the cops, and then there was a black one that got on me that kneed me in my back a couple of times, and because I made him run, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, bro, and I'll never forget. I'm like, I got asthma. I got asthma. I don't give a right. And then they threw me in the car. They brought me around. They opened the door. There was a guy. I remember this so vividly. There was a guy that was like, oh yeah, that's them. So there's a guy had called the cops and that we was up there. And my mom left me at the precinct. So I got taken to 108 precinct. I was there for like 9 hours. She only picked me up because I had to graduate.
If you didn't graduate,
yeah, bro. And I remember they called her, and look, it breaks my heart. Now we can laugh about it, but it breaks my heart because I remember that, bro. It was a crazy time because like I remember, yeah, bro. There was so much to that story, but I remember just being. They put me in a room. Handcuffed my feet. They took my shoelaces out. They handcuffed me to a pole, and I was just sitting there like, yo, like this is really what it is to be arrested. Like, and it just opened my mind to so much. I had probation, bro. This was going into the summer. Think about this. So I had probation while I'm supposed to be traveling.
I was gonna say
baseball.
Yo,
shout out to I had really good grades though. I had 80s, 85, and 90s, 8th grade. So I remember. Shout out Miss Goodrich. And I'll show the paper.
Yeah, we'll put the paper up so that y'all can see the probation.
Yeah, I'll show my paper, but of like what I had to do. I had to do like a soup kitchen that got canceled. I had to do a graffiti program. There wasn't enough people for that. And Miss Goodrich was like, "Yo, you're like these grades don't belong in here. So this is the last time I want to see you in here." So yeah, and I remember being in there, and like you have to go into Jamaica Center for probation. Check into your PO officer, and I remember like some of the PO officers going in there talking about their clients, like, oh yeah, he just got jumped and this and that, whatever, and like just crazy situations. I'm like, yo, I do not deserve to be here. Like I can't be here.
Right.
So thank God they allowed me to travel, and go to Ripken and this and that. But that was a tough period for me, and I know for a fact it was tough for my mom because she's like, yo, I've done everything impossible to keep this kid out.
Yeah, bro.
But I'm grateful for that moment because it made me realize that, and it was in my environment. Everybody around me was doing graph, and I don't want to say it's because I didn't have a dad in my life, but I just had role models I had at that time. The male influences. So I leaned towards them a lot. And
so now, would you say that that probationary period, did it affect you going to McClancy? Because did McClancy hear about this?
No.
Because this is 8th grade graduation.
Actually, I don't think so. I didn't even think about that. Wow, I didn't even think about that
Because
until now.
you're talking about a Catholic establishment, and
Yo,
I went
I
to
didn't
Catholic
even
school.
think- I didn't even
and
think
when it
about
comes
that.
to Catholic schools, they're big on the image that they present. So if you over here holding an image that they don't abide by,
That's
they might pull your
crazy.
thing.
I didn't even think about that.
So
I
that's
didn't
why
even
it was
think
just
about
curious to me. But
that. Nah, they didn't know.
wow. So to kind of
Yeah, that's what. So
Right.
damn, that's crazy.
To kind of segue into my next question, that just makes me start to think and wonder, all right, so you just went through this probationary thing, you're in high school now.
Yeah. It was like 2.5 months. I was on probation for
You was
like
on,
2.5
okay,
months.
so probation for 2.5 months and everything like that. Now you're in high school. This is already playing in the back of your mind as far as what did that put a battery in your back as far as like, okay, now I got to make sure like I'm on point going into high school. And then when you got to high school, what were some times there that let you know like, all right, I got a future in this. Like this is getting serious now.
Ooh, one moment stands out a little before that. I was when I played with the Stars, I must have been 13, 14. We go to play Ripken. It's my birthday weekend. On my birthday or day before my birthday, I hit for the cycle at Fenway. There's like, so Ripken's dope because they have like replicas of stadiums, and I hit for the
Absolutely.
cycle. I went for like 6 for 6 at Fenway, and there was a coach there that signed my card, and he was like, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" I'm like, "I'm gonna be MLB player." He's like, "No, you want to be the person who signs their contracts," and I never understood that. But I don't know, for some reason that moment stands out so much because I understand it now. Mm-hmm. Like, we have players making mills. Imagine the ones who signed their contracts. So ownership, being a boss, like, so that I don't know, for some reason, like that moment really stands out a lot for me. And just the times with the Stars, like, I mean, I'm going off as a kid, like, going 6 for 6 in games, hitting home runs every other game. Like, it's nuts. And, the type of talent that we're playing with.
And those type of games translated into high school as well. Like
for sure.
You kept up with that same
Yeah,
type
the
of,
home runs, not as much.
Okay.
Not as much. But the hitting, for sure. Like, I could hit anywhere I went. Field-wise, I was all right. But hitting, I was really good at. So it definitely put a battery in my back. Like, all right, I can't mess up anymore. I can't mess up. Left graffiti alone. I'm like, I had to choose between graffiti or baseball. I'm always going to choose baseball.
You already chose between basketball and baseball.
Yeah, right. So, but yeah, bro, to answer the question, it did put a battery in my back, and I think a few high school moments, like, facing Malloy, like I remember facing Malloy and hitting one of the furthest shots I ever hit and dominating there, and then getting called up to Vars, and then I transferred to Dozo. And that, I think...
you didn't stay in McClancy all 4 years.
No, I transferred October. I'll never forget. This was around Halloween of my... So I just get called up to Vars.
At McClancy?
Yeah, and then maybe like 3 weeks later, I transferred to Dozo.
Why?
And that was crazy. So that story, long story short, right? And I transferred to Dozo. Bro, that story is crazy. Long story short, I go home from McClancy, right? I used to take... I could take the bus or I could take the bus and the train. This time, I ended up taking the bus and the train with one of my boys. Things happen on the 7 train where they'll skip a stop or it goes express. So I had to get off at 61st Street. We get off into them shooting Law and Order episode. There's Law and Order, and I used to watch Law and Order heavy with my mom. There was a guy that we ended up talking to there for like 2 hours. This heavy set black dude who's part of the show, whatever, chopping it up. Connor gets off the train.
Connor Doyle.
Doyle. And he's like, bro, I'm at Dozo now. He's like, what's up? Like, yo, come to Dozo. I'm like, bro, my mom was not having it. She was like, you going to McClancy? This and that, whatever. He's like, nah, bro, you gotta come to Dozo. That night, the coach calls me. Dozo coach calls me. No, Connor speaks to the coach. He's like, yo, his dad already spoke to... I already talked to his dad. Talked to his dad? Keith. I call Keith. I text Keith. I'm like, yo, bro, you're transferring to Dozo? Because Keith was on the McClancy team, right? I'm like, bro, you're transferring to Dozo? He said, how you know? I'm like, oh, because I ran into Connor. He's like, yeah, bro, don't say anything. And I don't remember like how more of that conversation ended, but I'm like, if Keith's going over there, I'm out. So I remember now Catholic school, they observe Halloween as a holiday. It's like or that time. So during
Not
that
really a
time,
holiday, but they don't want people outside.
whatever it is, right? So I end up going to. So I speak to the coach that day. I'm like, hold up, so I tell my mom. So whatever. Long story short, I'm in Dozo, meeting with the principal and stuff, just to make sure I can transfer. Next week, I'm a Dozo student. And bro, that McClancy coach was blowing my phone up crazy to try to make sure I stayed there. Like hindsight, I feel bad because like I committed all 4 years there, and I said I was gonna stay there all 4 years. I was supposed to be like the next big thing, coming out of McClancy. Yeah, and it's and I say that very humbly, but it was crazy.
So now. So to walk us through that whole situation, like walk us through that time in Dozo now, because you just got called up to the varsity team, and then you would think you're getting called up to vars. I'm staying right there because that means I got a starting position waiting for me right there. But something in you said, nah, I'm betting on myself. Not only are my boys going there, I'm just gonna go there because I want to make some noise.
Yeah.
I want to play with the people that I've been used to playing with since the CP started.
Honestly, that's what it was. It really wasn't. And unconsciously, I did a lot of things. Like my work ethic comes just from seeing my mom and knowing that, she sacrificed a lot and what a lot of people have done for me. Because for me, it was like, I can't let the stars not see me make it with all the time and money they invested. I can't not make it to the league. Like, I'm bugging. So, like, a lot of that, like, situations and moments like that gave me my work ethic a lot. What was the question again? I'm bouncing around stuff.
I was asking you like your time in Dozo and everything like that.
Yeah.
Talk about that. Walk us through it because you just literally got called up to varsity.
Oh
and
yeah.
Everybody would
I know where I was
stay
going.
here.
Yeah.
Everyone would stay at the school, but you decided to bet on yourself. You kind of already said like, subconsciously,
but
you're
you're
telling yourself like, well, I know I'm gonna be on this team.
Mm-hmm.
But just walk us through that whole idea. Just being a new student, you have this name behind you.
Nervous.
Like, what were you feeling? How was that?
Nervous. I'll never forget the first class I walked into. It was a science class, Mr. Friedman. And that was actually one of my favorite classes because of the people that I met, characters in that class. And it was crazy. But Dozo was such a huge change for me, and I'm so grateful that my mom was like, you know what, like he wants to do this. Because I asked her recently, I'm like, yo, what made you even let me do that? Because you were so adamant about me going to McClancy. You were like, yo, you actually wanted to go, and you seemed like you were serious about it. So I felt comfortable enough to let you go. But I go from making maybe a 30-minute travel to school, or I could walk to school in 30 minutes, like basically walk to school because it wasn't too far from my house, in a school where you had 400 kids, and McClancy was all boys.
Yes.
So a school that had 400 kids to go into a co-ed school that had 4,000 kids in it. And I'm taking the 7 train all the way to the last stop, and then the Q27 basically to Queensboro Community College, which is right by Dozo. So that's a huge change for me too, because I'm traveling a lot more. I'm learning the train system, learning how to travel. I'm around a lot more women. Like it was just crazy, but it was dope in a good way. And it was nerve-wracking because I'm going into something new, but I adjusted quick. Like, some of the older CP stars were there. Now it's like half the team was the stars, like Nick Luna, Connor Doyle, Adrian Castano, Keith, me. Who else was over there? I think that was it from the stars, but we had a squad, bro. And go ahead.
No, I was gonna say because you're talking about that whole team, and you're basically naming your CP stars.
Yeah.
What were some times that it just reminded you of the CP stars, or just those times in Dozo that you're just like, yo, I love either being here at the school, or I just love this sport, or this is why I work so hard, and this is why I'm going to the next level.
When we played G-Dubs.
Ooh, talk about that, because if you're from New York,
we played
area,
George Washington.
George
Man.
Washington High School, PSAL, you know how it gets whenever you play G-Dubs, G-Dubs does not come to play.
I'm getting goosebumps.
Talk to me.
Goosebumps.
Talk to me. How was that?
So George Washington is one of the more dominant schools always when it comes to baseball, and we're Cardozo. Cardozo is more known for educational school, and I remember we went to, I think it was a George Washington tournament. It was some type of thing they had there. I think it was a tournament.
The Monroe tournament.
No, it was George Washington.
Oh,
I think they did something there. Whatever. But we played multiple games at that. It was us. Luperon.
Luperon, yeah.
And I believe Norman Thomas was there,
Yeah.
or another, whatever.
Norman
and
Thomas, because my two boys that went to Norman Thomas, they used to always be
Played-
Jeffrey and Aniras.
Yeah, so I remember, and that was so crazy to me, because if you know how G-Dubs is set up, their stance is stone steps all the way up, packed. And then there's scouts with the gun. That's the first time I'm seeing this like this crazy. Neno, who's gonna be on the podcast, he was pitching, so I faced Neno. Nelson Rodriguez was the catcher, one of the top catchers in the league, and that moment was crazy for me because that was like they're talking shit, like yo, and that wasn't we're not used to that type of grittiness in Catholic League.
No.
And PSAL is a different beast. You could
different
talk,
ballgame.
bro. Like, yo,
And
it
the
was.
thing about PSAL that a lot of people don't also take into consideration, a lot of the PSAL kids are Spanish kids. Yeah. So you're hearing Spanish on the field. The umpires might only speak English, so now you got the Spanish players talking to you crazy in your ear in Spanish, telling you, oh, SMD, all of this, all this crazy stuff, like you ain't shit. And the umpire's not gonna say nothing because he don't know what's going on. So I know how treacherous them PSAL games, but
Yeah,
like,
bro, that was nuts. So, and PSAL, like, that's the public school league. So most people who couldn't afford to go to Catholic school, obviously we're going to public, and it was just, that like those times playing against them, playing against some of the other, prominent schools in the league. That was nuts. But that year we went 16-0. But then I go into my junior year, I had like this bad tendonitis in my elbow. I didn't play all junior year.
oh, you got sidelined for the entire year.
Junior year, bro. I got sidelined. But then that year I ended up meeting my trainer Gio. I had a trainer Gio that time, and that changed the game for me. So shout out to my boy Manny Gomez. Manny Gomez actually was the first person who really showed me how to like work out. Like really like go to the gym.
Have
like,
a set program.
yeah, like yo, listen, we're gonna do
follow
this.
protocol.
4 sets of this.
Right.
Like because the stars we were doing a lot more baseball training, sprints, suicides, military workouts, you name it. So shout out to Manny Gomez. He's the one that connected me with Gio, and he went to McClancy with me too. And when I started working with Gio, this was the end of my junior year. Mm-hmm. And that's the biggest year in high school.
I was gonna say that's your recruiting year.
Yeah, so that was tough for me. So I really had to go all in my senior year. And that time training with Gio was nuts. I'll never forget. Gio was like the first day training with him. I hit with him, whatever. He's like, yo, I like this kid. He, he's working with me, and he's like, yo, if you're gonna be serious about this, like, we're gonna lock in, and I'm gonna, we're gonna work on getting you drafted out of high school. And around that time is when I really, really started to take it super serious, like working with Gio, knowing that like, yo, I can get drafted out of high school, and I was thinking about getting drafted. It's bad to say it now because like, oh, all the people who did me wrong or ex-girlfriends, watch, they gonna see me on TV.
You
this
want
and
to
that.
prove something
Yeah,
to
bro.
somebody.
And a lot of my drive, unfortunately, in sports came from just wanting to prove other people wrong, which I guess is not a terrible thing, but like do it for yourself first.
Yeah.
So with Gio, like I remember he was like, yo, think about how hard you ever worked. I'm like, okay. He's like, times that by 10. Like that's what this is gonna be. Never forget that first day working with him at 5 Tools, which was down the block from John Adams. Bro, that next day in school, I'm going up the stairs like that.
Trembling.
Bro, my legs shot. Like I've never worked like that. I haven't worked out like that in a while. And from there, me and Gio were just locked in, and he had a huge role in my development through that whole time going into my senior year, and really contributing me like winning the championship that year with those though. So I had a very dope like.
Yeah, I could tell.
I've been to so many like from Elm Jack to CYO to even thinking about me getting arrested and not even considering that I could have not went to McClancy,
That's a fact.
and then transferring to Dozo and then playing at Dozo like
it sounds like a crazy roller coaster ride and everything like that.
Yeah.
So, and one thing that I want to highlight before I get into my next question is I want to highlight the fact that your junior year, when you got sidelined from playing and having tendonitis, was the year that you decided to work your hardest. So that right there just shows the type of like dedication that you have when it comes to something that you genuinely want to do. Like, bro, they told you you're not playing, and what did he do? Doubled down and got with the trainer who said, "Now we're gonna work 10 times harder." So now, what did that make your senior year look like? Because now you just lost out on your entire junior year. That's a heavy recruiting year.
Yeah.
What does senior year look like for you now?
Honestly, I did a lot of showcases, a lot of local showcases. So I remember the first school that ever looked at me was Concordia when I was in McClancy, my freshman year.
Concordia,
freshman year. And then I started going to showcases a lot. I started going to showcases. Gio was taking me to a lot of showcases. I did Perfect Game. The Perfect Games really exposed me to a lot too. And then senior year, the showcases and just focusing on, trying to get drafted and up in my stock. And I remember the only reason why I ended up playing second base was because, Diego Gonzalez was also on the Older Stars team. He played third. He was a senior, but they needed my bat in the lineup.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
He was like, yo, what other positions can you play? I was working a little bit at first and second base.
This is your senior year you're talking about right now?
No, so I'm talking about the reason why I played second base.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
The reason why I played second base was because in my sophomore year, so I appreciate you clarifying that. My sophomore year when I transferred, Diego was playing third. I'm not playing over him, but I was working at first. I was working out at first and second base at McClancy, so I said I'd play second. I was like, I'll play second. And that's how I just had that second base spot for the rest of the time I was at Dozo until my senior year. Scouts were saying, because I started having some scouts come, like shout out to Pesci, T Money, he was a Texas Ranger scout. There was a handful of scouts that they used to come. Rob from the Astros, he used to work with Pesci in the Blue Jays. And they were like, yo, at the next level, I don't know if he can be a second baseman. Like, because they're probably comparing me to like Dominican shortstops and second baseman or shortstops that move over to second. Let's see if he can play outfield because he can hit. So that's when I started playing center field, and I ended up playing center field a lot my senior year. So I played second, I played center field. I was.
This whole time, I'm thinking that you have been like a second baseman your entire life, and it's really like
late.
It was just you were a dominant hitter who was just like, I can play anywhere really, and it was just honestly, to all the younger generation, you hit. You play. If you hit, they will find a place on that field for you. Especially if you're right-handed. If you hit, they will find
left-handed. Usually
right-handed
lefty. Oh, you're right. I thought you were a left-handed hitter.
As you can tell, he's far removed from the game.
Yeah.
But okay. So then we're at senior year and everything like that. So now you had to kind of really turn things up. Concordia is the first school that looked at you.
Yeah, earlier.
Talk to me, what does that look like going into college, the recruiting process, and, who do you end up, going with essentially?
So I remember when I was going to Perfect Game, individual Perfect Games, I actually got ranked by Perfect Game. This was the second individual one I went to. It was in Jersey. I went with Gio. I got
Diamond Nation, right?
No, that was not. It wasn't in Diamond Nation. I don't even remember where it was.
Okay.
But I remember I faced some crazy talent that day. I was smoking everybody.
Yeah.
And I remember NCAT, North Carolina A&T. I remember they didn't offer me, but they was like, yo, we would love for you to come to the school.
Right.
Check it out. I think it was my first D1 offer.
Got it.
I believe. And I didn't really get heavily recruited in my senior year. I remember I was going to like a lot of local showcases, like a lot of local schools wanted me, but I was like, yo, I want to go D1. My dream school was North Carolina, UNC.
Okay.
That was my dream school. And then after going to Perfect Games, so I said that after going to Perfect Games, you'll get letters. So I got like Stanford, but it was like Wake Forest, but to the camps. Couldn't afford the camps, obviously. And then Monroe came. I don't remember. Oh, no. Monroe saw me at a showcase for Kingsborough Community College. I'll never forget. Coach Heck. Shout out to Coach Heck. Changed my life. Never forget. I couldn't throw because of my elbow at that showcase. And so this was earlier. No, this was junior year. Yeah, I know I'm bouncing around. But junior year, I remember I had the elbow issue. I could only run a 60 and hit. And then I remember I saw Coach Heck, and I was thanking them for coming out. Nobody was doing that. Like, oh, I appreciate you coming out. I shook Coach Heck's hand, and he was like, oh, I like that handshake. And that's when I realized, like, shaking people's hands and, mannerisms go a long way. We stayed connected. Somehow, there was a guy, Chris Estrada, who went to Cardozo that was in Monroe, right? He was a pitcher. And Chris was telling them, the coaches, about me and Keith, and for some reason, towards the end of my senior year, they thought I was committed already.
So where?
I don't remember. I think it could have been Coppin State or whatever.
Oh, no,
I think somebody told me that I was committed, and because somebody had asked him, yo, like, why aren't you looking at Campbell? They was like, oh, he's committed already. He's like, no, he's not. So they started coming to my playoffs. Coach Heck started coming to the playoffs, and I still wasn't committed. So think about that. I'm like, yo,
playoffs of senior year, and you're not committed. Bro.
I'm like, screw this. I'm about to get drafted. So I'm not considering schools. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna get drafted out of high school. And I remember like T Money, the Ranger scout had came to watch me play aviation. I hit a home run that day. So I was going off when scouts were coming to see me, and then so Coach Heck was coming to watch me play, and he saw that whole run of me being a big part of Dozo going into the and winning the championship. And one of my favorite moments, we played George Washington. It was us, George Washington, Tottenville, and I think Grand Street or Monroe. And we had to beat George Washington 2 out of 3 games. Nobody's thinking we doing that. First game, I think we ended up losing against them. The second game, we won, and Wesley came into pitch.
Wesley
So,
Rodriguez.
yeah, so if you know Wesley, drafted Arizona, came out of high school throwing 98, whatever it
99,
was.
yeah.
And we're like, and people thinking, yo, they got this in the bag. I'll never forget my favorite moment. Gio was on the side. I'm on deck. There's a man on first, or I think man on second and third. First and second, sorry. And Gio, they bring Wesley in, and Gio, I'll never forget. He was like, yo, just remember, back hit. Make sure that's the way that you're going to catch up with high speed. I faced Wesley, first pitch, fastball, fouled it straight back. I started laughing at him. Like, yo, this guy's crazy. And I know that me laughing at him, he's going to throw another fastball. Because ego, pride. He's like, watch this, bro. Smoking in the gap. That was probably goosebumps. One of my craziest moments. Smoking in the gap. We end up winning that game. And then we end up winning that game. We won and we had so much momentum. Won that third game. Ended up going to the championship, playing Timeville at Yankee Stadium. Timeville, they come out with a football team. They're blasting music. We have like half their squad, and we end up beating them in the championship game. My homies came out to watch that from the block, and they sat in Tottenville side.
Gangster.
Bugging. They were bugging.
Bugging. That's what I'm talking about.
So, and it was just like moments like those were like, yo, I love this game. Like playing at Yankee Stadium, like first hit, I already know curveball just to get it over. Set the tone with a double. Like my girl at the time was there. Like my family was there. That moment was nuts, bro. So I know I said a lot, bro, but I was
gonna say. So how does that transition into
recruitment,
into recruitment,
college.
And into college? Because now you're on this big ass high.
College,
because
I'm sorry,
winning a championship your senior year and then going to college, that's a high that you're going on. So how, where does that take you? Where does that guide you?
So I think I end up committing to Monroe, after that, Coach Heck watched the whole thing happen. I ended up going to Monroe. That summer was tough for me, though. I'll never forget, because I'm on such a high. And then I feel like I fell out of love with the game a little bit. It's weird.
Really?
Yo, it's weird. I'll never forget. I told Gio, listen, I'm not coming in. And it was like a week and a half. I didn't come hit. I was just chilling on the block, doing hood rat shit with my friends, bugging, bro. And I don't know what I think it was because the level that I came back to. So I ended up playing with Gio that summer. And it wasn't the level of where I was playing. I think that's kind of what it was. Like I was
boring you
a little bit. I'm like, yo, where's the Wesleys? Where's the like? I need something like a challenge, and it wasn't really a challenge for me. And I don't know. I felt like it was just a weird time in my life, bro. At that time, but going into college, it was tough because we moved into a new dorm. They said they just built new dorms. Bad idea for Monroe to put all freshmen in a new dorm. We were
just freshmen in a dorm.
I'll never forget. It was 4 of us. Me. Shout out Andy. That's my dog. I'm still cool with me, Andy, Ronnie, and Michael. Michael straight from PR. So we had in Monroe, we had like 7 kids straight out of Puerto Rico. Yep. We had the Canadians. You had the Dominicans. Like don't speak English, but nice and
Absolutely.
And I'll never forget. We was like, yeah, listen, we're not throwing no parties here. That first night, everybody in our room. We had the softball girls stayed upstairs from us. So, bro, it was just mad fun, bro. It was just mad fun.
Mad fun, mad distractions,
bro.
You know?
And so, but it was tough for me because it's like you go from being the best player in the city. Like I'm ranked number 1 second baseman in New York. I was like 42 in the country. And I go from what now everybody is coming from being the best at their, like Andy, one of the best shortstops in Long Island. He's probably one of the most raw talents I've ever played with. Like you know how some people say wake and bake? Like he wake and rake. Like wake and rake. He just wakes up, he barely stretches, throws 90 across the diamond and rakes. Like that's Andy.
Those are the people that used to get me tight. We got a 10 o'clock
Nice.
game, 9:30. He's pulling up. He didn't stretch, and he went 4 for 4, 4 home runs, and he's throwing 96 off the mound. Like, nah, I don't.
Bro, but just being around talent like that, and like, damn, like yo, I gotta prove something. And I don't know, for some reason, even when I went to Dozo, like I felt like, damn, it's weird. It's like, do I belong? Like this and that, but then when I get into the game and really get into my zone, it's like, nah, but not only do I belong, I'm gonna dominate here.
Right.
So it's weird. I always had like these what's the word for it? Like expectations for myself. Like, do I belong? Doubts. I always had doubts.
Self-doubts. Okay.
But I always had the courage just to go in it and do it anyway.
Okay.
So that transition was tough. Was super tough, but fun.
So now you said that, you know, you go from being the best player on your team to now you're maybe one of the best players. Where did you see struggle in this time and in college? Or did you struggle, you know, because...
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know, you're going from, which I feel like we've spoken about many a times, is that it's such a big jump from high school to college.
Yeah.
But, like, did you see yourself struggle? Where did you see yourself struggle? And how, like, what was that like for you?
I saw myself struggle off the rip in the first semester because I was away from home for the first time. I was dorming. So I went to Monroe. I was in New Rochelle, so I was a train ride away, but I didn't really go home as much, now that I think about it. But bro, that first semester, being away from home, like having like that type of freedom. Bobby Schmurda just came out. think about this. Peep this. On everything I love. You go ask my homegirl Nemesis. You know, shout out to Nemesis. So she actually went to Monroe with me. Held it down OD for me there. I remember before I went to like a South Carolina Myrtle Beach trip in Monroe. Like we went to Stop and Shop and she used her food stamps or EBT to go buy me snacks for like this and that, whatever. You know, so shout out to her. But yeah, Bobby Schmurda came out, right? And I remember I had these shades on. We used to call them the Schmurda shades. And nobody knew my name. Most people didn't know my name there. I was always referred to as Bobby. Yo, Bobby. Like, they would call me Bobby because I was in there hitting, right? Bugging, bro. And I remember I had like a 2 point something GPA, and that's not like me. I'm like, yo, I got to figure this thing out. So being able to balance like partying and now you're your own man. Like you have to be a lot more responsible and disciplined. So that was really tough for me. Baseball wise, it wasn't tough because I can keep up because the stars and everything that I went through in Dozo prepared me, and I was still training with Gio. So a lot of that helped me, you know. I was able to adapt pretty quick. Especially always, you know, going to train with Andy and them. And the crazy part about JUCO, this was a tough part for me. JUCO, there's no practice restrictions.
Nope.
It's not like a 4-year school. So the the practices were crazy. We had 5:30 run, which we were doing 5-6-5, 5 suicides, 6 sprints down and back, and then 5 suicides, and they had to be timed. And I'll never forget the first day we went out, Coach Francis, shout out to Francis, Coach Melendez, you know, who gave me the opportunity to play at Monroe. They'll put trash cans out. I'm like, what's the trash cans?
Oh yeah, we know what those are for.
Yeah, people gonna be using those. So yeah, bro, Monroe, one of my funnest times playing. You know, that season I think I maybe hit like 4 home runs, but that was my first time kind of struggling. Like, okay, I need to, because I'm thinking I'm gonna get drafted out of high school. That don't happen. I'm gonna get drafted freshman year. That doesn't happen.
So what does those struggles look like for Cam?
Damn, that's a good question. I remember I was going to like games without playing. Like maybe I play a couple games, I'd have a bad game, and then because a lot of so the shortstops got moved to second, like so because Andy and Ronald, who were my roommates, were shortstops, dirty shortstops. Andy played short, Ronald played second. I couldn't play second no more. I had to play outfield, so I was going back and forth between outfield. Wasn't really playing as much. Was still learning the outfield, but I could always hit. So they knew that there was a lot of potential there, but I struggled a lot on the field for sure, and
No, that's just you.
This is my freshman year.
No, I know.
Oh.
I'm saying now when you're saying struggling, you're saying as far as like making errors, not hitting, combination of the both. And
I wasn't really making too many errors. I just wasn't hitting as much as I know I could.
Right.
And that was the anchor of my game. So if I didn't hit, it was like, what can he really bring? Because I can just hold my own a little bit defensively. So yeah, bro, those were the struggles then. And then in that summer, I ended up playing for the New York Nine with my boy Quincy. Shout out to my dog Quincy, that's family. And I tear my labrum like 3 weeks before we're supposed to go back to school. And I'll never forget the most heartbreaking moment of one of the most heartbreaking moments ever. There was a Canadian, Guy, one of the most pure hitters I've ever played with, and Zay, who I ended up meeting at Monroe too. Guy had labrum surgery. He was out for like a year and a half.
Yep, that shit.
So I dislocated my shoulder, and when I go into the trainer's office, they were like, "Oh, Jess, shout out to Jess too. She was a big part, bro. So many people. She was like, "Yo, you tore your labrum. You usually when you dislocate your shoulder, automatically I'm thinking I got a red shirt. I can't get drafted next year.
Everything just went out the window.
Everything, bro. And that was one of the hardest times of my life, bro. Like labrum surgery. One of my boys got locked up. Me and my ex is going through stuff. Like my boy, and then I'm getting chills. Rest in peace, my boy Nate. I'll never forget. After that time when I finally felt good, me and my boy Paul, we were in our dorm, hitting the gas. I had the Schmurda shades on. My boy Theo calls me. Shout out to Theo too. And he's like, yo, Nate passed. And this is one of our homies from the hood that we grew up with. And that was one of the first people who passed. That was rough for me. Like, I'm like, nah, there's no way. Like, Nate passed. Like, we grew up in the park together, you know? So that was tough. And a lot of that, it was extremely hard for me, bro. This is my sophomore year.
How does that affect your game? Because I couldn't even imagine, like, how do you even focus?
I didn't play because I had labrum surgery. So I was, labrum surgery. My boy got locked up. Nate passes. But me and my ex go on a break. Like, it was a lot, bro.
So then what did Cam do? Like, what does Cam do next in that situation? Like, I know baseball's the last thing on your mind. So, like.
Honestly, it was, but shout out to Paul and Francis. Like, they kept me around the game a lot. And then I learned, I forgot about this. I learned how to do stats. Like, I would work the basketball games. I'd work the volleyball games. I'd put the stuff in on the computer and things like that. And then during baseball season, I would do the same thing. So, that's what happened there. And then my junior year, I didn't play my junior year because I messed up my wrist. I forgot what happened with my wrist. So I'll go 2 years not playing. 2 years not playing, but I don't even, it doesn't affect me as much as, like, I expected it to, because I was around very good people. And I was still training, I was still working. And then we ended up having a new coach there, and it was a bad season. It was just crazy, bro. So, but yeah, bro, it was a lot, bro. That whole time was tough.
So then you're struggling, you're going through all of this. How do you transition into now the game is no longer for you? How did you find your life after baseball? How did you go into that next phase of your life? Like, what took you there? Like, because now I'm hearing you haven't played for 2 years and all of this stuff like that. How did you go from that to where you're at today?
So
working in credit. Yeah,
so there's a big gap there because I went to so I was in Monroe. I didn't play for 2 years, but thank God though, because I met my boy Zay, and Zay's like a you to me, like family. Like, he keeps me so grounded. Like like Zay's like my mentor in life, to be honest. And he's younger than me. Yeah, he's younger than me, but he has such great wisdom, bro. Like, anytime we talk, like, I just listen. He be preaching. And I didn't play for 2 years. Zay committed to Grambling, and Grambling ended up giving me some money to go out there. I didn't play for 2 years, but I started to hit a little. I was sending them video, or I had like video before. I remember High Point was looking at me too, High Point, but I didn't play my red shirt junior year. But I ended up going to Grambling, and it was a gift and a curse because now I'm in the country in Louisiana, and that was a very rough time for me. But I ended up finding God because there was. I'm not gonna speak too much on the Grambling situation because I was like super depressed out there. But I did have my best moment because we played LSU.
Eunice or the regular one?
No, LSU.
Okay.
And I was on TV, like I hit a double, like like my fam was watching, everybody, on ESPN. But yeah, I was depressed out there, and I'll never forget. There was a game because I didn't play for a couple weeks. This is after LSU. So I go to Grambling, right? I go to Grambling with Zay. So I'm like, yo, I'm be there with my best friend. My wrist is better. Everything is good. So I'm starting to get the groove of things. I get back on the field for the first time in 2 years. Crazy experience. And I get to do it with Zay. And we play LSU. I go off in LSU. We play Louisiana State. Louisiana, LSU.
Has to be Eunice.
No, it's LSU, and then there's LSU Tech. I think it was Louisiana Tech.
Interesting.
Louisiana Tech. We play them. I think I go I strike out 3 times. I'm benched for like 2 weeks. I asked the coach, what do I gotta do to get in the game? Oh, just wait till your name is called. Like at least give me some direction. I was depressed out there. I started making music out there with Zay because Zay's a DJ. He started producing. Yeah, I started making music out there, right? Right, and I've always been like good with rapping. Like I'm nice, like I'm not nice, but like So, and then there was a game, and then I started getting real good with music. I started getting.
I'm just laughing because I know what you do now,
bro.
So
I started getting,
You
I started getting real good.
violent.
So there was an abandoned dorm, and me and Zay had recording equipment. We met a dude on campus that was heavy music. And he produced a couple, so I'm in an abandoned dorm and I produced like a handful of songs, and people like fire songs, right? So I remember, bro. So I'm like, yo, at this point, I think I'm just gonna. I was so depressed, bro. I'm like, I'm just gonna quit and make music. Yo, on everything I love, bro. I'm gonna quit and make music. I'm like, God, like my mom was going through stuff back here, and remember, I'm in Louisiana. She's here by herself.
Yeah.
So I never forget. We played I want to say we played Texas. I was about to say A&M. We played Prairie View, and I prayed that day. I'm like, God, show me why I shouldn't quit. I was gonna quit that day. I'm like, yo, God, like show me why I shouldn't quit. I'm in the lineup that day after not being there for 2 weeks. Goosebumps, bro. I'm like, yo, but that game I made 3 errors. Dropped the pop-up, this and that. And I had so much anxiety. I think I had a panic attack and almost passed out, this and that. It was a lot. I was depressed out there, bro. But thank God I had Zay. Zay helped me out. He picked me up from that. And then I realized, Louisiana's just not for me. There was a shooting on campus where we're playing MLB The Show. All here, do. And it's normal to hear gunshots around there. It's crazy how it sounds.
No, yeah, it's an open carry state.
We go out, people screaming. There was a body there. Never forget. There was a body. Whatever. There was a body there. People screaming. This and that. Yo, my brother. It's a crazy scene, bro. Cops come. This and that. Cops are doing the flashlight. Some other shorty screams. There was another body, like a little further down. I guess he tried to run. Nuts, bro. Like me in college. So to wrap that part up, I was depressed in Grambling, a lot going on. So I'm like, yo, let's come back to New York. But I was D1. I was out of D1 school, and you can't go D1 to D1. You got to sit out a year, bro. I just sat out 2 years. I'm not doing that. So it was either Adelphi, Queens College, or New York Tech. And it didn't work out with Adelphi. I ended up having Chris Rojas come watch me work out at Victory Field, and I ended up going to New York Tech. But I had to sit out a semester because of me redshirting my sophomore year and my junior year. D2 goes by semesters. It's not by years and eligibility.
So you get 8 semesters.
Something like that. So, or I think it's 10. I had to take off that fall semester. I started doing DoorDash. So I'm doing DoorDash on my bike. And then, I'm on my bike going from my house in Sunnyside to Victory Field training. Then sometimes I'd go to Artistic Stitch, which was a little further. I'd ride there. I'd go hit there. And then I'd go do DoorDash, Postmates, and Caviar at night and biking.
How long you were doing that for?
All summer. No, that whole fall. The summer and the fall.
So you basically
just to make money. Yeah, just to make money, hustle. I go to New York Tech in the spring. This is 2019, and I break my handmate. I realized I broke my handmate bone, which is I had surgery.
Hand.
Yeah. So I had to have surgery, and right before I had surgery, I'll never forget that I was going so hard and practicing in my work ethic that they ended up giving me a scholarship, the extra scholarship money that they had. They gave it to me like, yo, they called me to the office, and I'll never forget. I was on the bus, and I'm like, the coach was Frank Cavallinato, played for the Mets, and we had a new coaching staff, everything there, super dope, and I'll never forget. I'm like, yo, I wonder if coach will ever ask why I work so hard. Like my mom, and just everything everybody's done for me. That same day he called me to the office, I get that scholarship. Crazy. And New York Tech, that season was one of my favorite seasons because I go from the worst season of my life, being depressed, to being a huge part of going to the College World Series with New York Tech.
Tough.
And that was bro, we had one of my best moments. In that run, we played SNU, Southern New Hampshire, in that tournament, heavy hitters. Mm-hmm. And there was a play where a ball was hit between, I'm playing second. It was between me and the first baseman. He goes over. I call him off as if we're in the outfield. I call him off, and there's a play that we always used to work on in practice. And it was one of those plays that only came up once a year, and it was that play. I called him off. The pitcher went to go cover first base. And I feel that I got ball. I threw it at first. I'm like, yeah, we work on those in practice. That's one of my favorite moments. And then we ended up going to the College World Series. I got a ring. I put it on my pinky, and that was fun. And then the following year, I'm thinking, hopefully I can get drafted. If not, go play overseas. Mm-hmm. And I graduate into a global pandemic.
COVID.
So once again, your environment is going to change you before you can change it. So, I graduate on Zoom University. We're on Zoom. We don't even know. We don't even know what's going to go on. And shout out to my boy Mo, who I met through my boy Navdeep, who put me on to the YMCA. So, bro, while I was at New York Tech, the way that my work ethic is crazy. And in hindsight, it's crazy that I was doing a lot of the things that I was doing because when I went to Tech, my last year there, I didn't dorm. I got a car like 2 days before my first car, 2 days before school started. So I would commute from Queens to Glen Cove, Long Island, back and forth, and work at the YMCA. And I would take everybody's shifts who wanted to call out. So I was working crazy shifts and going to school and playing baseball
and training
and doing it but I knew that's what I just had to do. Right. So then fast forward, graduating to, I'll never forget the last game that I played. We're in Florida. NBA gets shut down. And then the coaches start to huddle. We're like, oh shit, it's going to be our last game. And then they call it. He's like, yo, we got to fly back, this and that. And then that's when everything gets shut down. School gets shut down. So fast forward, me and Mo get cool through my boy Navdeep, who put me onto the YMCA. So that was my first real job clocking in the YMCA.
And how old were you?
I was a little older. I was like 24 maybe. 20. YMCA was 2019, so I was 23.
23, and he had his first clocking job.
Yeah, I was throughout I was always hustling. Like I worked, I did
hustling.
Sneakers. Sneakers. I was a lot, bro.
That's entrepreneurship.
So a little ganja, but
you feel me?
And then going
You said you met Mo through Navdeep.
Yeah, I met Mo through Navdeep. And then I'll never forget. Mo was like, yo, I'm gonna show you how to get 100K in credit. I'm like, okay, sure. The only reason why I knew about credit.
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
Peep this. Got into credit by accident because I got scammed for some sneakers by these two shorties, right? They were a couple. Two shorties, they sold sneakers. They were into like fashion, whatever. They sold sneakers. They was getting the latest drops. And I was trying to sell sneakers. I got these Bape Adidas that I was gonna take to Flight Club, and I told her that. She was like, "Oh no, you can't take them there." Like, what? She was like, "Yeah, they're like factory laced, whatever it is." I'm like, "Yo, if I can't take them there, I want my bread back." She still owed me money to this day, and I'll never forget. I was complaining to one of them, who I talked to a little more, about money. She was like, "Yo, if you don't have money, try this Forex thing." I'm like, "Yo, I don't have money though." She was like, "Oh, well, you can use a credit card." She was like, "I'll take out the Discover card." Discover approved me for like $1,000. Turns out you can't use Discover for their payment system. She was like, "Who do you bank with?" Chase. I took out a Chase card. Those were my first 2 credit cards.
Those are heavy hitter cards.
So unconsciously, I took out cards to invest into myself without even realizing it, because I got scammed, right? So this was maybe like 2015, 2016. So fast forward, I had 2 credit cards. Mo's like, "Yo, I can get you 100K in credit." I already had a couple credit cards. Mo gets me a couple cards, first American Express card. This is June. So I graduate in June. Mo got me my first Amex for 10K. 10K. I'm like, "Yo, I thought only rich white people get this stuff." Then I end up, then he puts me on to Amex, lets you 3x your limit every 91 days. So they have a 91 and 3 rule after 3 days. So I turned the 10K to 29.5. And I used that in November of 2020 to invest $5,000 into a credit mentorship. Think about this. If you tell your homies, "Yo, I'm about to invest $5,000 just coming out of college," you're gonna be like, $5,000. You know how many pounds I can get with that? You know what I can do with $5,000?
You know how many J's I could get? You know I could do this. I could get a whip.
You feel what I'm saying? So, but I don't know what it was. I was just around. I never forget. I asked Mo, "Yo, should I invest into this?" He was like, "Bro, what?" Like, yeah, like pull the trigger, because Mo was already spending 15, 20, 30,000 on stuff. I think he dropped like 50K on the credit mentorship or something like that. And I think in payments or whatever it was. But I was in an environment where people were spending this much on education, and it was crazy if you weren't spending money on education like that. And that was the first time I was around black and brown people that were talking about taxes, credit, business. And that changed the game for me.
Because these are conversations you weren't even having at home.
Exactly. And not because my mom didn't want to, she didn't know.
No.
But I give so much credit to my mom, because she instilled so many values in me unconsciously, just because of how she carried herself, the respect. She doesn't get angry. She's very mellow tone. Like she's my everything. And that's my why I do everything. Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so and I was around, and that exposed me to more, right? And I feel like once you get exposed to more, you can't unsee it. Like my mentor that month, so I spent $5,000.
Right.
200 people joined that mentorship. That's $1 million in a
right
day.
There.
Some people are like, yo, if you tell somebody you did $1 million a day, he's scamming. No, it just, okay, you have a $5,000 product, you sell it to X amount of people in a short amount of time, and I found it through a podcast. That's why I'm so big on podcasts now. I found all my mentors through podcasts.
That makes so much sense.
So
because if you know Chris, you hit up Chris after 8 p.m., he's either working or watching a podcast. I'll tell you that right now. He's either working or watching a pod. There's neither or.
Or chilling with Mama Cam,
Or Mama Cam, and she's probably watching a pod.
So then I went to so that was in November. I opened I started the credit repair business in 2021.
What even before you even get into that, what made you want to get into credit repair? Because you were just learning about credit and gaining credit. What made you wanted to get into the repair side?
To be honest, because the mentorship was going to teach, it taught you how to start a 6-figure credit repair trade line, and I forgot the other one. I don't think it was funding at the time. It could have been. But credit repair was just what Mo was doing too. And it was, for me, it was a way to make money. It wasn't, which is why I feel like I wasn't as successful with it, because the intention wasn't there. Mm-hmm. And because I didn't go through credit repair myself, I couldn't understand my client's pain point. And I couldn't relate to them. Now I know what it feels like now, because I've made some bad investments. I know what it feels like to, I know if I had an extra 20,000 at 0%, I could really turn up with these ads. Or if I had another 10, 15,000, I had American Express Gold Card, or I can apply for that, I get 4 points for every dollar I spend on ads. So I wasn't able to. So now I understand it. But at the time, so I took a break because I wasn't. It was just. I I just wasn't as successful with it. But then I started documenting myself getting all this funding. 3 American Express cards at once. 1 month I got like $30K from Navy Federal. That same month I got 3 American Express cards, platinum, gold, plum. I got another Navy card for $25,000. Like I was going crazy, and people were like, yo, how are you doing this? So that's how I ended up making it into a business. But I like funding way more than I like the credit repair.
Why?
It's just it's crazy. I mean, because with credit repair, unfortunately, you're dealing with people who sometimes don't pay their bills, so they don't pay you.
Right.
And then funding is just a lot. It's cooler to talk about points and cash back, and to know with a 700 score and a properly structured credit report, I can get somebody $70K like that, as long as you go about it correctly, right? So that's why I fell in love with the funding, and it's because I I did it myself. I showed I can do funding, so I know what I'm doing. With credit repair, I didn't fix my credit myself, so it was a little. It was just more of a comfort thing, I guess, too.
Gotcha.
And a lot more money into funding as well.
Yeah.
A lot more money when it comes to funding. It's nuts.
So now that you've already went and you've kind of entrenched yourself in this credit world, what were some of the early, setbacks or some of the early lessons or losses that you might have learned when you first started to decide, this is what I want to do. I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to start my own business. What were some of the early struggles you might have faced?
Imposter syndrome. Because it was, I remember how hard it was to tell people that I'm not playing baseball anymore. Because even after COVID, I was still playing a little bit. And I was still like, okay, maybe this overseas thing will work, but everything was shut down.
Right. So
obviously it didn't work. And then going into, so after COVID, that's my train of thought. What was the question again?
So you went from you jumped into this credit world, you got into.
Oh, you said the struggles.
What were some of the early struggles that you kind of might have faced?
The imposter syndrome, and then I guess just trusting myself a little more, right? When it comes to charging people, X amount and sending invoices, and the hardest thing was I invested 30. It was twice I did it. But in all, it was over 30,000 into this Walmart automation store, and I'm still in an active lawsuit for that. So everybody talks about the good and bad, the good entrepreneurship. You're your own boss and this, bro. I'm still in an active lawsuit, and I'm charging it to the game, right? It's you can't want to make 100,000 and be scared to lose 10 or scared to lose 30. You just become better by learning how to make better sound investments. So I don't blame nobody but myself for that. And I made some other bad investments as well, but that was huge for me. Bouncing back from that, and I was also in a relationship with somebody who wasn't an entrepreneur. So it's trying to convince somebody that this is gonna pay off, and then in your head it's no, in a year, this time next year, watch. And this time next year, and you have a whole other set of problems that you're dealing with, and clients not paying. And I'll never forget, we were on a cruise, and I had no service, and a client ended up doing something where he would later on he got approved for 60,000 from Chase 0%, but he got denied while we were on the cruise, and then a lot of things went downhill for me from there, financially. And it's hard as a man to be in a relationship, especially with financial struggles in general, and if you're with somebody who doesn't understand entrepreneurship and the ebbs and flows. And I also have to take full fault in that because of my lack of leadership and just a lack of leadership in certain things. Because baseball, I was a leader, I was captain of my team, just in that easy. Same thing in business. In relationship is it's tougher, right? At least for me. Mm-hmm. So, and it was tough because we went through multiple breaks during that, because it's you want to go out and, go out to eat, and going out to eat is not cheap, especially if you want to go in a restaurant, you're getting a couple of drinks, whatever, or I need to pay my CRM bill to keep my thing rolling. But I'm so grateful for that relationship, because it unfortunately, I feel like she was Barbara the Builder, because she really built me up a lot as a man, as far as the relationship aspect of things, and really realizing that I have full control of my life, meaning that like as an entrepreneur, like I have full control of my whole schedule.
Yep, that's a
And
fact.
I have full control. So I can tell myself, this is what your schedule is going to be. You're going to wake up in the morning. You're going to do this. You're going to, reach out to these clients. This is how much you're going to make. Like, this is who you're going to reach out to. Like, and I got a lot of structure because of a lot of the negatives that I dealt with in that relationship. And it also made me now I'm way more intentional about who I want to be with, because in that relationship, I realized, like, you're never going to meet somebody who's perfect.
No, hell no.
But communication goes a long way. Understanding somebody, their love languages, being able to tell them, listen, I'm in a season right now where I'm going to be working way more than you're probably going to like. But I'm going to make sure that we do check-ins or we do something where I still make sure your cup is filled. And we're going to build this thing together. Because I'm trying to build, like, I'm so blessed because I have the opportunity to change my whole bloodline, my whole Campbell last name, because my mom taught me to be open-minded and everything, and instilled work ethic and faith in me and everything like that. So, and we only do this life thing once. So I want to make sure, and the most important person that you choose is one of the most important things in your life is who you choose to spend the rest of your life with. So I want to make sure that person is on the same, like, I want to help me. I don't want a spouse. I want to help me. Somebody that has the same goal. I know that you're going to be the backbone of this family and you're going to take on more than I will, but I'm going to be there to make this a home. But I know that you're going to do things to make sure that everybody's set. Me, you, the kids, our future kids, and this and that. So that relationship taught me a lot. And that was the toughest part of entrepreneurship, like balancing a relationship and somebody, and she's a great person, but she's not a great partner for me.
That part. So now, where does baseball tie into all of this? How does baseball trickle over and teach you the intangibles, or it teach you some of the other things that you might have not have learned had you not played baseball?
I think entrepreneurship emulates sports and baseball so much.
Right.
Delayed gratification, I think, is the biggest thing, and work ethic. Because the delayed gratification, like being like early mornings, late nights, putting the reps in and still not seeing a result for years or months. Same thing with entrepreneurship, right? So I think that's the biggest thing, work ethic. And honestly, I think for me, I always say, like, the goal was always to give my mom a better life. Right.
Respectfully.
And that's always been my why. The vehicle just changed. The vehicle used to be baseball. The vehicle is just entrepreneurship now. So I'm the same person I am as I was in baseball and in entrepreneurship. Very high energy, very, outgoing, buddy. So baseball really, like, it taught me life, bro. Like, meeting different people, being able to, I want to say code switch, but being able to blend in different environments, being able to hang out with my Dominicans and hang out, with some of the people at New York Tech, which was a predominantly white school, and everything in between.
Now, I always like to say that baseball, I attribute it for making me like a chameleon. I can step into anywhere and just be able to adapt to the situation. And really, that's what the sport is teaching you, adapt into your situation. So what would you say is the biggest lesson that you got out from all your years of playing baseball, your struggles, your ups and downs, the successes? What was the biggest lesson that you learned that you take into entrepreneurship? Not just, on top of the showing up, but what was the biggest lesson you learned and that you bring into entrepreneurship every single day?
Damn, that's a great question. The biggest thing, honestly, right now, it's do and review.
Break that
and
down
then
for
repeat.
me.
So, like, baseball, I feel like I didn't make it as far as I wanted to, mainly because towards the end, I didn't really reflect a lot on where I could have been better. I was just kind of winging it a little bit, to be honest. Same thing right now. It's like, if I want to make X amount a week, right? Say I want to make $10,000 a week. I'm selling $1,000 product. When I made this week, I made $1,000, right? I sold one product, but I only spoke to 5 people. Okay, well, the problem is always going to be in the numbers, right? And reflect. Okay, so I do the thing, I review it, and then I go back to step 1 and do it again. So say, okay, so if I spoke to 5 people and made 1,000, how many people do I have to speak to? Maybe I speak to 50 people, right? So I can make that 10,000. So and then putting in that work that following week, reviewing it, then doing it over again until you hit those numbers that you want to hit. So I think that's the biggest thing, and I'm still working on it, right?
Right.
You know, reflecting, you know, going over my work, and then just making sure that, you know, I do what I say I'm going to do.
Okay, so last two questions that I wanted to ask you. First one, with where you're at today in your entrepreneurial journey and everything like that, do you feel like the life that you're living right now is making that young 12-year-old Cam proud?
Oh, for sure. For sure. Even I think the podcast is one of the biggest things, like life, like being able, because I grew up stuttering. Like a lot of people don't know, like I've dealt with stuttering my whole life. I've been in dark places because of my speech, and just the fact that I'm doing a podcast. The first speaking engagement I did was from my boy Tim Trades at 4040, Jay-Z's club.
Yeah.
Like I'm sweating bullets, like, you know, and so I mean I think it's just things like that. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I think that, and even just a little off topic. One thing that we really didn't speak on, that a lot of people even don't know, is like just growing up without my pops.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that situation. Yeah, like me and my mom, you know, we've spoken about it before, and she told me, and I remember like somebody asked me, they was like, yo, but what if that's really not the actual story? Like you don't even know. And I'm like, you have a point, but if my mom feels like this is a story that she wants me to see my dad in, then I'm fine with that. And I don't regret not having my dad in my life because of the man I am today.
Exactly.
And the people who I'm around. Exactly. And it makes me want to do better for my kids, to be a better father. Like I love my friends who are fathers right now. Like that's the best hood you could be in, fatherhood. And you know, from just a brief thing on that, like when I was born, or when he found out I was my mom was pregnant, he wanted to take me back to Jamaica because that's where he lives, like the country Jamaica.
Oh.
And my mom wasn't having that. Like I'm not raising him in Jamaica. I'm gonna raise him here in New York, and that's basically what it was. Like I took the initiative to raise him here and to grow up, you know, in the States. So that's what it was. And I'm so great. The older I get, the more I want to do it for my mom, because I realize how tough that was.
You got a why strong enough to make you cry every single day.
Yo,
There's nothing better than that.
I mean, bro, my mom is everything. Like my best friend. Like people see her now, and I love mom. We've really developed such a dope environment in our household. Like she told me yesterday, like the other day, my boy was like, "Yo, let's go out, you know, with our parents." And my mom was like, maybe after my birthday. Her birthday is in February. Maybe after my birthday, I want to do everything I can to try to hit my goal. And I want to put.
I love that.
I want to do everything.
I love that.
I want to do everything I can to hit my goal. My mom is non-negotiable. You talk about discipline. The other day, my boy
listen, I'll speak for Mama Cam before we wrap things up. Mama Cam, besides me, Cam, and the people that I see work out every single day, there is not a single person putting in more work in that gym than her. That woman is in that gym at 60 plus years old, twice a day, morning and night. So really, what is your excuse? So shout outs to Mama Cam. Like she is super non-negotiable, and it allows me to see why Cam is the way that he is when it comes to his non-negotiables. Because when you talk to him, he's like, yo, I got to knock out my non-negotiables. I got to make sure I got this done, this done, this done. So it's dope to see that came from the head and it's just trickling down. And then especially with you saying that you didn't have your dad there, it pushes you to want to be like, all right, when I have my family, we're going to instill the same thing, them non-negotiables. I love that.
Yeah, my mom, bro, and like, bro, she, like, at one point she was going twice a day. And she can't now. She had a knee replacement, a hip replacement, still there 3 hours, Stairmaster going crazy. Like, and my mom recently told me, and it was one of the best moments in my life. She recently told me, because she was like, I don't know, something happened with one of my aunts, and she was like, yo, like, I don't need to deal with that. Like, my son is healthy. I'm at the most peace I've ever been in. Like, yo, that right there is luxury to me. Like, my mom, like, she don't have to worry about bills. Like, I just got her credit score up to 700, highest score she's ever seen. I just added her on 2 of my credit cards. We just got a 3rd card, like most credit cards she's ever had. Like, my mom don't got to worry about a bill, and like that right there is luxury. Like, everything else is a plus. Everything else is a luxury to me. That's wealthy off credit for me. Mm-hmm. And then nothing feels better than being able to like reciprocate, and I don't think I'll ever be able to repay my mom.
Hell no.
But nothing feels better than knowing that like all the work that she put in is showing. you know, and all the sacrifices that she made and that she made the right decisions. So that right there, bro, like that was one of the best moments. She was like, yo, I'm at peace. Like I love life. Her environment's beautiful. She has no negativity. Like that's everything to me, bro.
I love that. So to wrap it up, I just want to ask you one last question. I feel like it's the most important question in the pod. If you could speak to the younger generation, if you could imagine yourself in one of those baseball huddles after a camp, after a workout, showcase, whatever it may be, and you can give a piece of advice to that next generation, to those players who are not going to make it, who are going to struggle, who are going to face identity issues, what piece of advice could you give them going forward when they're looking for their life after baseball?
Oh, man. One of the biggest things that's been really sticking with me now is life gets better when you get better. Right? And it's hard when you're in that transition going from baseball into this like identity crisis, because we didn't talk, and I didn't really have an identity crisis. I just felt comfortable in myself because once again, it was the why was still the same, and just the vehicle that changed. And I feel like I can help more people. Like I stopped trading Forex because I had to choose between Forex and credit. I stopped trading because I didn't really love to teach Forex, but I love to teach credit, and credit can change more lives than Forex can, because everybody needs credit, right? Unless you're just, you're one of those like the people that like F the government, I don't want nobody knowing, type thing. But everybody needs credit, so it was a way that I can help everybody, especially people who look like us, because we pass down trauma more than we pass down good credit. So now we're changing. So now we're changing the narrative. But going back to the point, life gets better when you get better. It's like when you work on yourself, you work on your mental, you work on your spirituality, you work on your physical. Like things get better for you. And you start seeing opportunities that start to show up just because you constantly get better and putting yourself in an environment like that. And then I think a step further is your environment, right? My environment changed my life. Like being around people who were doing graffiti, I got arrested. Being around people who were training, like CJ Turn to Fitness with Palacios brothers, Stefan Alamayas, Nick Padilla, like people like that environment pushed my game to the next level. So life gets better when you get better. So once you get better, life gets better for you. And then being around people that are where you already want to get to, it's a fact that you're going to take their habits on, their good habits, and eventually you're going to be in that position.
I love that. There's no better way that you could have ended it than with that.
I know I was all over the place on this one, but
listen, like we said in multiple episodes in the past, this is therapy, and sometimes when it comes to therapy, there is no path, there is no plan. It's just you just unload everything, you just let it all out. Real quick, before we close everything up, just let everybody know where they can find you on Instagram, your socials, your business, and everything like that, because we are going to link everything at the bottom.
For sure. So Wealthy Off Credit, I started Wealthy Off Credit a couple years ago. Shout out to my partner, Sebastian. I think Wealthy Off Credit is bigger than just a credit movement, right? Wealthy Off Credit, like health is wealth, right? Health is wealth. And just being able to own my 24 hours, right? Credit has allowed me, to make a lot of money, and even more than the money, to impact a lot of people. As you said, JP's pops got the American Express Platinum. He's chilling in the lounges, right? He's
going on a cruise in 4 days off of that American Express.
You feel what I'm saying? So it's I think it's a huge movement. But Wealthy Off Credit, we help entrepreneurs get access to capital so they can grow their business without having to use their own cash. We worked with a lot of real estate, e-commerce, you name it, we help them. Wealthy Cam is my Instagram. You can follow also my partner Sebastian at Seba Loans. A lot of impact that we're looking to do this upcoming year. We're looking to help 100 people fix their credit, 100 people get access to capital, and that's I think it's a small goal. So I think we're gonna blow past that. But yeah, that's the biggest thing, and really show people that you can turn credit to cash, and not have to live in this 40-40-40 world where you work 40 hours a week for 40 years of your life, and that's basically it. So
I love that. Cam, I just want to say thank you again for your vulnerability. Thank you for your openness. Thank you for your time and really just showing and telling everyone your story and pulling the curtain back so people can actually get to know the people behind this podcast. Guys, just as a reminder, if you didn't know, this is the only podcast out here in New York that is teaching you how you can go from dugouts to deals.
Or from cleats to clients.
We'll see you in the next one.
Let's get it.